Hello, and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is number 150. Wowzer. And that's not even including the 20 snubbed movies. So 170 episodes of Soap Goes to the Oscars, technically. So I'm recording on February 15th, 2026. And I just watched The Yearling. This is the first movie I've watched from the year 1946, which is a new year of Oscars. This was the 19th Academy Awards, still calling it Best Motion Picture. And the ceremony took place on March 13th, 1947. The Yearling is a 1946 American family Western film directed by Clarence Brown, produced by Sidney Franklin, released by MGM. Screenplay by Paul Osborne and John Lee Mahan, uncredited. Was adapted from Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings' 1938 novel of the same name. Film stars Gregory Peck, Jane Wyman, Claude Jarman Jr. in his film debut, Chill Wills, and Forrest Tucker. Story follows a boy named Jody who adopts a troublemaking young deer. Story was later adapted as the 1994 TV film The Yearling, starring Peter Strauss and Gene Smart. The movie became the ninth highest grossing film of 1946 in the United States. Cinematography, wow, 3. Arthur Arling, Charles Rocher, Leonard Smith, edited by Harold F. Kress, music by Herbert Stothart. Production company MGM, distributed by Lowe's Inc., released December 18th, 1946, with a runtime of 128 minutes. Production, The Yearling was filmed on location in the Juniper Prairie Wilderness in the Ocala Nation Forest in Florida. A hiking trail in the area, the Yearling Trail, is named after the story and gives access to sites where the family lived, whose stories inspired the novel. MGM originally began production on The Yearling in 1941 with Spencer Tracy set to star as the patriarch and with Victor Fleming chosen to direct. Studio also hired Marjorie Kinnan Rawlings, the author of the novel, as a consultant and location scout. Rawlings marked a Forest Service map with locations for filming, specifically referencing the clearing she named Baxter's Island. MGM moved to the filming location, renovated the cabin, and built surrounding buildings to create a town for a set. Once the actors arrived on location, a combination of the bugs, heat, and lack of enthusiasm for the plot made the actors leave. This led to the film being shelved after only 3 weeks of location shooting in Florida. Production was resumed in 1945 after Clarence Brown was hired as the new director. Brown cast Gregory Peck to play Pa, Jane Wyman to play Ma, and after a long search, cast Claude Jarman Jr. to play Jody. Due to Brown's drive for protection, the average take number for scenes was between 20 to 21. He also got real hunting dogs to film the bear fight scene after deciding the original city dogs were not good enough. Peck received the second of his 5 Oscar nominations for The Yearling, his 5th film. This was nominated for 8 Academy Awards, and it won 3. So it won Best Art Direction Color, Best Cinematography Color, and Academy Juvenile Award for Claude Jarman Jr. It was nominated for Best Motion Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Peck, Best Actress for Wyman, and Best Film Editing. So a few things. I'll try to say some good first. So the sets were pretty cool. Obviously, they filmed some of it on location, but there was also some areas where you could tell it was a set. But still, it's cool to see sets like that, like, the stuff that they built like that. It doesn't look real now to me, but I love that stuff. So it's very cool to see it, especially the giant backdrops that they painted. They probably paid some poor artist $3 a week to, paint these huge murals of the sky and, sunsets and clouds and all that stuff. And it's amazing artwork, the amazing set dressing and everything. Again, it does not look real now, but it still is amazing work. So that's really cool. It's a nice little movie. I don't know if this was, coming out of World War II, people wanted like some sort of happy stuff, even though this is not a happy movie. It comes off as that for some of it, but in the end, it's really not to me. I'll go right into the rate. I gave it 3 stars, but I did not really like it. I gave it 3 stars for the sort of the effort. Like I said, the sets and everything were really cool. The production was fine, but this is not a movie for me. This is a kids movie, and it's that's okay. They don't all have to be for me. And there's some things that, now we might say, oh, it's not a kids movie because I'm going to spoil some things, but the yearling is a deer that this kid raises, and in the end, he has to shoot it, which I don't know if I knew that entirely, but I saw it coming. I probably did know to some degree. I didn't know a lot about the story, but when there's these older movies, especially if it's a Disney movie, for God's sake, like if there's some animal, the kid's gonna have to kill it probably. So, or let it go at least. And the one thing I'll say is, while the kid had some very good moments of acting when he was very, very upset, specifically at the end when he had to first try to say goodbye to the deer, and then when he had to shoot the deer and he was mad at his parents. That stuff, he did that very well. He was like really sobbing and like spit dripping out of his mouth and stuff. And I don't know, maybe they pinched him, but the moments where he had to be emotional but a little more subtle, he was quite terrible. It was not well acted for most of the movie on his part. Even if it was happy emotion, it came off as weird and creepy to me. Both there were a couple of kids in this, and they all came off as creepy with their acting. But there was also just I didn't like the whole podunk backwoods bullshit of it all. And Gregory Peck is good in this. He's sort of playing a like I this is sort of a part in the earlier movies I've watched in this series that I would see Gary Cooper playing, and he even looks a little bit like Gary Cooper. I don't think he plays it quite as well as Gary Cooper. There's something a little more fake to me about Peck in this role than there would be. It's lacking the sincerity that Cooper might have brought it. I'm not saying Peck's a bad actor. He's obviously a well-revered actor. I just didn't like him in this. I hate the way they talk. The Florida, I guess it's supposed to be Florida, but they say like right here, and all this the stupid I seed it, like I saw it, but they seed like SEED. I just hate the way they talk, and that's just my modern ear not liking it. But and then like there's a part where he goes, they try to hunt the bear and the dogs are fighting it, and his gun backfires. And so he goes into town. He wants to get a new gun. He's telling the story to all these other townspeople, and there's a family that they don't really get along with. And the guy from the other family, so he has 3 dogs, the Gregory Peck. 2 of them were helping hunt the bear. The third one was with them, but he says it's not a good hunting dog. So it was just kind of there with them. And as he's telling the story, he's saying that this one's useless and the other 2 fought it. And this guy's getting mad at him because he said, no 2 dogs could fight a bear. Like you're lying. That dog fought the bear too. And basically he was mad because he thinks the dog also helped to fight the bear, but came out without a scratch, whereas the other 2 dogs got injured to some degree. And so he wants that dog because he thinks it's a good hunting dog. And Gregory Peck's like, all right, you can take him, but don't be mad at me when it comes out bad. And it does come out bad. And they don't really go into it much, but they do see like his sort of group later, and they ask about the dog, and they're like, we don't want to talk about that. So it was like, I was like, what are you mad at, sir? What are you getting mad about? That he's telling a story and you think that he used 3 dogs instead of 2? It was just like stupid shit like that was right at the beginning. And I was like, I don't care for any of this. So again, 3 stars is fine. It was okay. It's just not a movie for me. And this is not an Oscar worthy movie to me, in any way, except, technical stuff maybe, but story, direction, acting. I don't know. I don't really see that. And that's just maybe me being pessimistic and stupid, but it's very well revered. It's got 100% critic score with 14 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and like a 75% audience score. Or something else I was going to. Oh, the other thing I was going to say about the bear fight was, when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have thought much about this bear fight. I might have felt a certain way in the sense that it's intense because it's the bear fighting dogs. I might have been upset by that when I was little. And I'm upset by it now because I know, but when I was little, I would have thought it was real. Now I know it's fake, but it's also real because they probably just threw these dogs at a bear. And like it said, the director used real hunting dogs, but man, this bear was just tossing them aside, not to mention the fact that they're terrorizing this bear. And so, while I don't love that they use CGI animals and stuff now because it doesn't look real, I understand why they do it. And I guess maybe I just feel more empathy now and understand how the business used to work. They didn't give a fuck about animals and they used to just do whatever, tripping horses and um, fighting bears with dogs and shit. So it was very intense. And I was disturbed by it in a different way than I would have been when I was little. I would have been upset by it when I was little because I thought it was real. And I'm upset by it now because I know it's fake, but also real. Yeah, it's a weird thing. But anyway, yeah, I won't go on. Again, 3 stars, totally fine, but not for me. So I will just leave it there and hope that the rest of these movies are better. See you next time.